welcome to Real Talk. So before we start our program this evening, viewers, we have a persons of interest for today. So before we start off, Natalie Pascal, would you please get in touch with me? We're trying to call you, but somehow you're not answering our calls. So try and get in touch with us, Miss Natalie. So viewers, as we start our program tonight, President Christine Kangaloo has sent out invitation to the swearing-in ceremony of the new Prime Minister. The ceremony will take place at the President's office on Monday, March 17th at 10 a.m. The invitation does not indicate under what specific subclause of Section 76 of the Constitution that the appointment of Young is being made. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley is expected to hand in his resignation as Prime Minister immediately before the swearing-in ceremony. It will be the first time that there will be a voluntary resignation of the Prime Minister in Trinidad and Tobago. So viewers, according to Kamala Prasad-Bisasa, they are in breach of the Constitution and the opposition will carry them to court. This is the first time something like this is happening in Trinidad and Tobago. So we want to hear from you tonight. Do you think this is legal or is it illegal? Because this is the first time something like this is taking place. Prime Minister is going to resign before elections is called. They are going to appoint Stuart Young, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, and being the Prime Minister now, automatically you will become the leader of the PNM party. But according to Young, in an interview, he said the Prime Minister will still be the leader of the party. So I'm trying to figure out who is the real leader of the PNM party. Who is the real leader of the PNM party? Is it the Prime Minister to be Stuart Young? Or is it the resigned Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley? So when the election polls come around now, who are they going to vote for? Who is the real leader of the PNM party come March the 17th? Ask yourself that. Ask yourself that. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has declared that he has no regret about his tenure as he looked forward to retirement on Sunday. And as he prepared to exit the political landscape, the PM says he has put his life to service and shared a favorite tune from Sounds of Music. Somewhere in the youth or childhood, I must have done something good. He added that this country has a good future and the questions of leadership need to be fairly assessed as part of the national conversation because leadership is not easy. Listen to this.
This country is not perfect, but it is one of the best places in the world to live. And that is why people just rush to come here. But unfortunately, many people who are here, and by many I mean a few thousand, I don't mean the vast majority, but it only takes one drop of ink to change the color of the water. One drop of ink. And you have to isolate and cauterize that drop of ink if you want clear water. This country has a good future. And the whole question of leadership is something that needs to be fairly assessed as part of the national conversation, because leadership is not easy. Anybody could follow and not even be noticed. But once you are in a leadership position, you become a target for everybody. Some for good, some for evil. And if you're afraid of that, don't accept leadership. I have accepted leadership in this country. And that's why I'm not angry, except with one person who did one thing. But everything else, I have no regrets. As a matter of fact, I think I have put my life to service. So I sing in the bathroom sometimes. And my favorite tune is from Sound of Music. Somewhere in my youth or childhood, I must have done something good.
Now Trinidad and Tobago. Rowley, he reflected on his time in office with a sense of fulfillment, even as he acknowledged the challenges faced by successive government in steering the nation through economic and political issues. He said, Trinidad and Tobago is a difficult country to govern, and it is largely because we are a free people. The PM said, as he prepared to bow out of the country's leadership, he accepted there will be mixed memories of him. Listen to the Prime Minister.
You would have heard at least one Prime Minister I can think of, but I think possibly two I know of, who would have said that Trinidad and Tobago is a difficult country to govern. And it's largely because we are a free people who enjoy significant freedoms. Freedom to even waste your time. Freedom to play the fool. Freedom to make good when you can do better. Some will remember me for what they didn't get. And some will remember me for what they achieved during my tenure and what I did to put them in a better position. You may not believe this, but I have a stack of thank you cards in my office at St. Anne's from some people who saw it fit, for one reason or the other, to buy a card, write it and send it to me. And the ones that I appreciate the most are the ones that tell me how the policy or how the action would have put them or their children in a better position going forward. But I do have some of those.
Now, Trinidad and Tobago, listen to this, Rowley was also clear about his desire to ensure a seamless handover of leadership. He said, while persons were trying to anchor it in the Constitution, he was ensuring that there is a smooth transition with the law so that the country will not be disadvantaged. After stepping down as the country's leader on Sunday, Rowley will still serve as a PNM's political leader. So Trinidad and Tobago, this is where I am caught up with. This is what I am caught up with. After stepping down as the country's leader on Sunday, Rowley will still serve as the PNM's political leader. And this is the problem that I am having. Well, listen to this.
That's a good question, because what we are experiencing now is that something that you haven't experienced before. And some people are trying to anchor it in something to do with the Constitution and I am ensuring that the country, as far as I'm able to, within the law of the country and the PNM Constitution, I am trying to ensure that there's a smooth transition so that when I move out of this office, that whoever moves in, that the country will not be disadvantaged, that the country would even benefit. And that is done within the Constitution of the country. And the same thing with the PNM, that when I move out as political leader, I don't scatter the pearls. I ensure that the PNM, if I am able to, is strengthened and not weakened. Because a strong PNM makes a strong Trinidad and Tobago.
So as of Monday, who is the leader of the PNM? Is it going to be Stuart Young? Or is it going to be a resigned Prime Minister, Keith Rowley? Who is going to lead the PNM? Who will be making the decisions? Who will be governing the country? Who will take responsibility for the country? Stuart Young or Dr. Rowley? While he did not say exactly when he will step down as party leader, he assured there will be no clashing of heads with the Prime Minister-elect Stuart Young, also addressing claims of a dictator-like approach in the appointment of Young as his successor, and that his action had placed party members on edge and almost caused an implosion or explosion within the PNM. Rowley said, "If I am the only dictator that dictates by a secret ballot, then I could live with that." Listen to Rowley.
I am not at this time in a position to discuss details with you. But suffice it to say, I've been in the political arena for 40-odd years, and I learned a few things. And one of the things I've learned is that you have to expect anything. What you call messy is what I call par for the course.
They called you a dictator, you know. They said you move like a dictator. They said you betrayed them because this is not what the principles you stood on when you became political leader. And said you would have been different.
If I'm the only dictator that runs the dictation by way of a secret ballot, and I could live with that. I could live with that. The selection of a member of the parliamentary caucus to lead when I turned down the offer was done by secret ballot. And you could jump high or you could dig low. That's a fact. It might have been the first time. It may not be the last time in the history of this country, but certainly it was the first time. And for those who thought that the only way we could live is the way we lived as toddlers when we are in fact geriatrics, that's not logic. And you're talking about messy. Have you seen a smoother transaction? I came out of General Council last night, 8 o'clock. The General Council has approved last night in a smooth meeting. The General Council has approved a request by the political leader to go to a special convention on Sunday. You call that messy?
So Trinidad and Tobago, this is where we are at. Caller, good night.
Yeah, good night, Saeed.
Go right ahead, you're live.
Yeah, Saeed, we have a problem in San Fernando in the hospital or in the eye clinic.
Okay, in the eye clinic?
Yeah.
Okay,
What
tell
happens,
me.
When you left in the morning and you go to the eye clinic, right?
Mm-hmm.
They will say you have an appointment for 7 o'clock.
Okay.
Security not blocking you in front, you can't go inside, you have to sit down to the outside. Right? And when you sit down to the outside, 8 o'clock appointment, going in quite 10 o'clock. And when you're going to see the doctor about the cataract surgery, they keep you whole until 3 o'clock. And when they keep you until 3 o'clock, when 3 o'clock reach, they're telling you that the senior doctor is not there, and we have to revoke your appointment and make back a new appointment. Right?
Wow. So they're keeping you hold there when the evening reach, then they tell you the senior doctor is not there.
Yeah, they said the senior doctor is not there. And people suffering with cataract, they get blind in San Fernando Eye Clinic. The over 3 years now, people can get cataract surgery. They're doing surgery for who they feel like doing for.
Wow.
You understand?
I understand. My
And
friend,
then they build a new car park. And the new car park with the bill, you have to pay $9 or what to go in it. Yeah,
my friend, thank you so much for highlighting the issues.
yeah.
So Trinidad and Tobago, we are going for a short commercial break. But when we come back, we're going to hear from the PM concerning the SOE.
We'll be right back.
Tired of wasting precious time at the bank applying for a loan, only to be denied? We understand your frustration. Here at Realtalk Group of Companies, we take a different approach. Contact Saieed, Managing Director of Realtalk Group of Companies and licensed moneylender at 238-6716, 242-7690 or 339-1670. Feel free to visit our office at number 14 Carney Savannah Road, Chaguanas, or number 132 Superior Road, Victoria Village, San Fernando.
When life throws you a curveball and you need a clear path forward, trust Real Talk Wrecking Service to get you back on track. Whether you're stuck on the roadside or dealing with an unexpected breakdown, our 24/7 wrecking service is just one call away. Fast response, reliable towing, and a team that's got your back. At Real Talk Wrecking Service, we don't just tow, we rescue. Real Talk Wrecking Service, your lifeline on the road to recovery.
Real Talk Financing is offering you 5% on a fixed deposit for 5 years and over with upfront interest. Contact our central office at 238-6716 or our San Fernando office at 242-9944. You don't want to miss this great opportunity. Invest today and watch your investment work for you.
At Real Talk Studios, we dedicate our time to highlight the glaring issues we face within our community. Catch us live every Wednesday between 7 to 8 p.m. Real Public Concern. Because your concerns are meant to be heard. Send your email to realpublicconcerns@gmail.com.
Welcome back.
Remember, viewers, it's only Real Talk Financing will give you 5% on a fixed deposit with your interest up front. Remember that. It's no game, it's no gimmicks. People have been calling in. You have been hearing for yourself the reality of the 5% on fixed deposit with your interest up front. Also, viewers, if you're looking for cash borrow, remember, viewers, if you're looking for cash borrow, you can always contact our office. Numbers will be on screen, viewers. Remember this, Trinidad and Tobago, that all you need to have is some form of collateral. House, land, gold, vehicle. Make sure it is not owing for. You decide you want some money borrowed, not a problem. Contact our offices, set up an appointment, visit us. That's all you have to do. So as we get back to our program tonight, viewers, ongoing Prime Minister Dr. Saieed Ali says, following a regular assessment regarding the effectiveness of the current state of emergency SOE, he is not anticipating a further extension. Asked if there will be any extension to the SOE, Rowley stated that he did not really much more on that approach, because the police would have been seen to be doing certain things, and now we can continue along certain lines without emergencies. Check on this.
I would not be in the cabinet for that decision, but at this point in time, I think we've done enough, and I don't expect that we would rely much more on that approach, because the police would have been seen to be doing certain things, and now we can continue along certain lines without an emergency. And you would have seen us not going for a curfew and not having certain things done, but the whole focusing on those people who are carrying out criminal commercial enterprises, but you loosely call the gangs, because that's what they are. They're commercial enterprises that are not law-abiding. We expect that the police will continue and improve their attack on those aspects of the criminal conduct.
Now, viewers, he said the government had utilized special power under the SOE, which began on December 30th and was extended to a 3-month period after Parliament's approval, to take a decisive action against crime and criminality, and it had been strategic. He added that he expects the police to endeavor now to put an end to criminal gangs activity. The PM said, while crime remains a serious challenge, the government has worked consistently to confront it. Head-on dispute that country recording increase in the homicide rate largely attributed to gang-related violence and profilation of illegal firearms. Addressing whether his government had failed to peg back the criminals, Rowley said he wouldn't use the word fail, but the government had been having challenges. He added that the longer we take to accept crime as a public health issue, the longer we will take to get rid of it. He said the government had a number of initiatives. Some have been successful, some have been not. Kitro.
No, I wouldn't use the word fail. I would say that we have been challenged before I came to this office. We have been challenged throughout the period, and as I leave, the challenge continues. But it's not a question of an absence of effort. The crime that we are experiencing and have been experiencing for quite some time, as you would have known, you would have seen me as Prime Minister moving the conversation away from incidental crime to crime as a public health issue. And while in the political arena, that can be dismissed and say, well, the Prime Minister wears the wrong color suit and didn't have any policy to prevent criminals from conducting crime. The longer we take to accept that crime is a public health issue, the longer it will take for us to ameliorate it. And I wouldn't even say eliminate, because what we are experiencing is a societal behavioral problem, and it does not respect political cycles. We have had a number of initiatives which are called for. Some have been successful, some have not been. We have some serious compartmentalization in authority, and that makes it difficult to do what you would like to do as policy.
Caller, good night.
Good night, Mr. Said. Great program as usual, man.
Thank you.
Wherever you go in this country this weekend, all over this country, there are big celebration. This celebrating the departure of the most notorious dictator in this part of the world, Idi Amin, brother. Thank God. So next week, when he demits office, we must now have a day of prayer or a week of prayer for this notorious man who said he loved this country, he loved his citizens, he loved nobody but himself. He said from going to school barefoot to cutting grass and mining goat and sheep to going to the highest office in this land using pen to sign paper. Tell the citizens of this country what good you did, what good you signed to better their life, to improve their life, to make our lives happy, to enrich us. Tell the citizens of this country, you should hang your head in shame and with total disgrace. You sign documents, that's all you do. Property tax, you legalize extortion, you legalize crime. The world tell us that, The world tell us that. Tell the citizens of this country today why a state agency, the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force, has 1% Indian. Why the police service has 5% Indian. Why the healthcare system today, thank God, to be a doctor you have to study. So there's 95% of a particular group of doctors that a particular ethnic group. But tell the citizens that the entire public survey, WASA, everywhere you're saturated with your supporters, and you today is going to tell the citizens you love this country. Rowley, shame on you. You're leaving this office a disgraced human being, and that's how the citizens of this country feel. Mr. Said, God bless you for this platform, so we could bring the information to the citizens of this country and make them understand where we are, and this notorious dictator must go. God bless you and your staff, Mr. Said. Take care.
Thank you, my friend. Now, viewers, according to Rowley, he said he was disappointed that the government have not been able to do more. Listen to this.
I'm disappointed that we have not been able to do more with respect to this societal behavioral aspect of criminal conduct. And it is something that is not a feature of this person, this race, this geography, that geography. There was a time when it was steel band men and little gangs and with iron bolts and razors. There was a time when it was lava and till. Now it is the entire nation. Tobago, Seychelles, Chaguanas, where I don't want to say young people, but some younger members some younger members of our society are seeing crime in some instances as a way of life.
So viewers, the question was put to Dr. Rowley. Asked why he kept faith in Fitzgerald Hines. Rowley said the blame could not solely be pinned on Hines. Listen to this.
Well, you see, because I do not, and I did not believe that getting the better of the criminals is only about the minister. Because I was in the opposition when the administration before mine had, I think, 6 or 7 people in national security on rotation. That did not put an end to the criminal behavior of the criminal element. So as a scientist, by training, I will conclude from that a minister or a large number of ministers or a rotation of ministers does not safety and security make. Because one government practiced that.
So viewers, we are going for a short commercial break, but when we come back from this break, we're going to hear citizens from Jamaica, Dominica already need visa for UK travel after this.
We'll be right back.
Tired of wasting precious time at the bank applying for a loan, only to be denied? We understand your frustration. Here at Realtalk Group of Companies, we take a different approach. Contact Saeed, Managing Director of Realtalk Group of Companies and licensed moneylender at 238-6716, 242-7690 or 339-1670. Feel free to visit our office at number 14 Carney Savannah Road, Chaguanas, or number 132 Superior Road, Victoria Village, San Fernando.
When life throws you a curveball and you need a clear path forward, trust Realtalk Wrecking Service to get you back on track. Whether you're stuck on a roadside or dealing with an unexpected breakdown, our 24/7 wrecking service is just one call away. Fast response, reliable towing, and the team that's got your back. At Real Talk Wrecking Service, we don't just tow, we rescue. Real Talk Wrecking Service, your lifeline on the road to recovery.
Real Talk Financing is offering you 5% on a fixed deposit for 5 years and over
with upfront interest.
Contact our central office at 238-6716 or our San Fernando office at 242-9944. You don't want to miss this great opportunity. Invest today and watch your investment work for you.
At Real Talk Studios, we dedicate our time to highlight the blaring issues we face within our community. Catch us live every Wednesday between 7 to 8 p.m. Real Public Concern. Because your concerns are meant to be heard. Send your email to realpublicconcerns@gmail.com.
Welcome back.
So Trinidad and Tobago. Besides our country, Trinidad and Tobago, citizens from at least 2 other CARICOM countries, Jamaica and Dominica, require a visa to travel to the United Kingdom. On March 12th, the British High Commissioner announced that with immediate effect, all TNT nationals will need a visa before traveling to or transiting through the United Kingdom, including of short visit. Call good night. Okay. The United Kingdom cited an upsurge in asylum applications, saying the measure aims to prevent abuse of the system. Less than 2 years ago, on July 19, 2023, the UK government made a similar announcement for all Dominican nationals. The decision to bring in a visa regime on Dominica was in response to concerns relating to its citizens by investment scheme. Call good night.
Yes, Saeed, good night. Good night to you, good night to your staff, good night to your show partner. But here I telling you now, Mr. Saeed, boy. This man have a condensed milk mouth. This Prime Minister we have a condensed milk mouth. How much different things we hear this man say. And look, this man talking on parts in your show with interviews. And that man give me riddle. Why don't come out and talk plain and tell me exactly what is going on? Because something wrong. Something had to be wrong.
Thank you, my friend. So viewers, Dominica was informed that visa visit were essential for reducing illegal migrants, tackling organized crime, and protecting national security. The UK highlighted that the decision was made to ensure that the visa system continued to operate as effectively as possible. Now, 2 decades earlier, in January 2003, the UK introduced a visa regime for Jamaican nationals. The UK government cited concerns about the link to criminal activity and issue related to legal immigration. The new visa requirement is in addition to establishing requirements for obtaining a visa to travel to the UK for work, study, and settlement. Well, good night. Yes, we lost that there. So Trinidad and Tobago, we are not the only country with this. Jamaica, Dominican Republic, all because of what? The UK government highlighted specific reason. Criminal activity. Imagine, you want it in Trinidad, you go down to the UK, You do an application for asylum and you're good to go. You're good to go. The reason why they did it with Jamaica is through criminal links. Now, Trinidadians, when we realized we could go to England and seek asylum, it's the easiest way to get away from any criminal charges or police trying to lock we up or somebody trying to kill we. We become a citizen of England. So you can't enter here now to extract me. Why? I'm seeking asylum. I'm safe. Now, do we have those sorts of things in Trinidad? No, we welcome people. We don't care who background they're from. We welcome them. The UK is showing the world that they intend to protect their citizens, their land, their community, their national security. What do we do down here? National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines have stated that local criminals fleeing to the United Kingdom to seek asylum to avoid accountability to the law was one of the reasons TNT nationals now require a visa to travel there. Hines said this led to increased numbers of such individuals seeking asylum in the UK. But he went further, described the development of unfortunate, but admitted that the reasoning put forward for the visa restriction was not new to the government. Not new. What did you all do? We didn't do anything. We didn't set up nothing. Anybody could come in. All right. He added that the government was aware of some citizens fleeing to TNT. He said that while crime was a challenge, international partnership would continue even with a visa stipulation. Hines added that the British government was within its right to introduce such a policy if they saw fit. He also, hopefully, that further collaboration between the British and the Trinidad and Tobago would lead to a reduction in the number of people making asylum requests. However, ACP of Crime and Special Operation, Richard Smith, said criminals who have already fled TNT have continued their criminal enterprise from abroad, are still within reach of the TTPS and could be brought back to face charges. Smith said local police would continue to fulfill their duties by pursuing criminals even across the border with the necessary support from international counterparts. Let me tell you something, Transvaal. The only time we saw something took place like this was when they arrested the gun dealer. I believe that was in Jamaica. Remember the gun dealer where the TTPS officer used a private plane to go and home in the next country? I forget the name of the gun dealer, yes? But nevertheless, Trinidad and Tobago, that is where we are. Our police ain't going in no other country to interfere with nothing. Take what I'm telling you. Them ain't leaving this country to go to our next country to interfere with nobody. That's too much work. But nevertheless. So I just want to make mention of persons of interest tonight, viewers, before we go any further. And I really want this person to contact me. Natalie Pascal. I really want her to contact me. You know, let's be calm, you know, before I decide to go all rile up and let out things, you know. So Natalie, friends and family who look at Real Talk, tell Natalie to get in contact with Saeed, please. It is urgent and it is important. Thank you. So Trinidad and Tobago, local nurses have never gotten the impression that Cuban medical workers have been exploited or even trafficked, says TNT National Nursing Association President I.D. Stewart. He said, all of the medical workers freely returned to Cuba after their customary 3-year stint is completed. He said that was partially owing to TT's crime level, something they were not accustomed to in their homeland. So according to Stewart, left because of what? Criminal activity in Trinidad. Now, Stewart said Cuban doctors and nurses were fleeing an overwhelming growing void in the local system in Trinidad, which is the healthcare system. He said that the void existed because the country was not producing enough nurses to fill vacancies within the expanding healthcare infrastructure, and those who were leaving for work in the US, Canada, and the United Kingdom. Imagine that. So listen to Trinidad and Tobago. Cubans, nurses, and doctors coming into our country. They're coming into our country to work, while our doctors and nurses were going to other countries to work. Vice versa. You can't get vexed. You cannot get vexed. They're seeking a betterment. They see opportunity in Trinidad. They come in. Nurses and doctors who have their degree and the subject and their passes, their qualifications, leave Trinidad to go outside now in a bigger country. What are they looking for? Opportunities of a better life. That is what they are looking for. Could we blame them? No. Okay. Let's take the normal citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. If they leave Trinidad to go to the UK or the US or Canada, what are they going for? They are going to seek a better life, better opportunities for them and their family. Yeah. So, I give kudos to St. Vincent Prime Minister and Barbados Prime Minister for standing up against Donald Trump. Kudos to them. Did anybody in Trinidad say anything yet? Did any minister say anything yet? Any earlier? U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced on February 25th the expansion of an existing Cuban relation visa restriction policy that targets forced labor linked to the Cuban labor export program. In it, he threatened to revoke the visa of government officials whose countries are recipients of Cuban medical missions. Rubio accused Cuba of continuing to profit from the forced labor of its workers, and the regime abused the labor practice are well documented. This is the latest policy by President Donald Trump administration to toughen its stance against Cuba since taking office in January. So Trinidad and Tobago, are we going to side with that? Where's the health minister? Where is the foreign affairs minister? How come we are not hearing anything from them? We have Cubans in Trinidad and Tobago. They fill a void in the health sector. How are we not hearing anything from our foreign affairs minister? How come we are not hearing anything from the minister of health? Did they stood out and say anything? No, they didn't say anything. Are they trembling because of Trump? We don't know. Do they want to get their visa revoked? We don't know. But one thing I could tell you, they're afraid to open their mouth. You know why? One of them said, come here, Robinson Regis, what Trump gonna do in the parliament? If Trump enforce sanctions to Venezuela, we could be in big problem. You know why? we have ministers dealing with the Venezuelan government. So what will happen? We might get sanctioned in retail. And that is what the Trump administration could do to Trinidad and Tobago. So to answer Camille Robinson Reggie's question, we could get sanctioned. Camille, what you going to do? You going to run to the UK? You going to run to Canada? Or you going to run to the US? I don't know what you going to do, you know. But I know I could go to Pakistan. I know I could go to India. I know I could go to Dubai. I know I could go to Abu Dhabi. That's where I could go. I know about you. But nevertheless, switching gears, Acting Police Commissioner Junior Benjamin have stated that the police have been taking a dim view of the unauthorized surveillance camera discovered in Silat on Sunday. The 22 cameras and 4 digital video recorders, DVRs, which have been installed on the electricity pole and trees, were found by TNTEC Electricity Commission technicians and police officers during a raid in different parts of Silat. Police suspect the device were part of an early warning system for criminals to alert them about police patrol and the presence of rival gang members. Similar devices were found last May in St. Augustine, Basanti Street in St. Augustine, and Monte Grande in Tunapuna, where police suspect they were also used by criminals to keep track of police activities. Caller, good night. Hello?
We have a government in this country for 9 years, and several ministers in this government break the law of this country. And we talking about the police in this country, and the police not doing this and the police not doing that. Mr. Said, who is to uphold the law of this country? Not the police?
Correct.
And why it is nothing is being done to all these fellas that is highly corrupted, for evidence of corruption. And why it is the police not doing anything to them? You know why, sir? This is my personal point of view, sir. I want this country to know, and your show to know, that the Prime Minister of this country is the police. Everybody in this country have to do what the police say, from the lowest rank to the biggest rank. And they just don't want to come out and say that. But that is what's happening. That is exactly what's happening. The crime in this country comes from big people in this country. No poor man that's shooting people on the streets can buy a gun for 15,000, 30,000, 60,000, different types. Right? We can't buy that. Them bring it in, but they're not going to use it. So they're going to give the people at the lower end money, the gun, and tell them, go and do what we want done. Them is who running this country. The Prime Minister, like Keith Rowley and them, is encouraging these things. What them supposed to do is uphold the law. The law is for everybody, not me and you and the Prime Minister and them alone. The law is for everybody. If a poor man break the law, he's going to make jail. He's going to make jail, is that true?
Yeah.
So when all they break the law as parliamentarians, want to tell you what we have in place in this country for all to make jail? Nothing. Everybody must get away scot-free, and the poor man pay all the penalties, sir. You have a nice night, sir.
Thank you, my friend. So viewers, Benjamin said, while citizens have the right to install cameras at their home for personal security, public space are off limit. Benjamin.
You can put up cameras in terms of your house. But when you put it up on lampposts and all these things, you're going too far. And we will not tolerate that in Trinidad and Tobago. You can put up cameras in terms of your house. But when you put it up on lampposts and all these things, you're going too far. And we will not tolerate that in Trinidad and Tobago.
So Trinidad and Tobago, listen to this, UMP Saddam Hussein has called on the government to not dispose of the petroleum refinery asset without the regulation to deal with disposal of state land. He stated that under the Public Procurement and Disposal or Public Property Amendment Act 2016, the sale of Petrotrin asset, refinery, bungalows, and all amenities and facilities were considered state land or state properties and required the Minister of Finance to make regulations. These regulations would ensure a fair bidding process and a fair awarding of contract to any successful party. Speaking during a joint select committee in January, MP Saddam raised issues during meeting about the effectiveness and the challenges of the full proclamation of the public procurement regulation and Ministry of Finance. And listen to this.
So, can I ask, maybe this might fall under the OPR, and this is a question that we may have to think of. Can we dispose of the refinery without these regulations because the act is fully proclaimed?
Member, I'll be honest, I cannot say. I don't want to, I haven't thought through that. But even in the absence of regulations specifically, we did provide some guidance on the disposal, guidance related to best practice in disposal of real property and best practice in alignment with the requirements of the Act, right? That is as far as the OPR went in this particular matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Trying to make her drop that so I would understand what is taking place. UNC Whip David Lee is calling on the government to obtain or to be more transparent about Nigerian company Onando Trading, the MCC, which was selected to lease the former Petrotrin refinery in Point-à-Pied. Lee said that Trinidad and Tobago is facing the most critical question and challenges to emerge in decades. He said the PNM is attempting a political facelift by changing leaders, while the countries face grave uncertainty. One of the biggest lies, he said, was that the Petrotrin refinery was not profitable. He said the refinery was profitable up until 2018, when the PNM shut it down, no matter how they come to spin it. Listen to this.
The Minister of Energy continues to blur the facts, hide the reality, and present a misleading picture on the profitability of the operations of Petrotrin. In his attempt to dismiss the fact that Petrotrin made an operational profit of 1.6 billion TT dollars in its last year of operation in 2018, the Minister of Energy has produced a figure from the consolidated financial statements of Petrotrin 2018, stating that Petrotrin made a loss of $16 billion.
So we heard it was profitable. Now, Onando have been selected. Good. Who is Onando PLC and their troubling past? So Trinidad and Tobago. Financial misconduct allegation 2017 to 2019. In 2017, the Securities and Exchange Commission received petition and initiated investigation into Onando's PLC, alleging financial misconduct, including false disclosure, market abuse, and misstatement in financial statements, internal control failure, and corporate governance lapse. We continuing. Delayed financial report. Onando PLC has struggled to meet deadlines for publishing its audited financial results, leading to suspension of trading in its shares by Nigerian exchange. Not the US stock market, by Nigerian exchange. Where's Orlando? In Nigeria. Now listen good. And the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, the company failed to submit its audited financial statement for the year ending December 31st, 2023, which led to the suspension of trading in its shares. By where? NGX. That is in Nigeria. So Trinidad and Tobago, this is the company that have been selected by the government of the day to run the Petro-Trin refinery. So you tell me now, Trinidad and Tobago, between Jindal, who's getting caught up with the law, and Orlando, who's caught up here now, who is the better one? It seems that we only attract businessmen who are having problems with the law in their country. And that is perfectly okay with our government. With our government. Where's the opposition now? I'm waiting. And I am waiting. And I am waiting. Who was the former Minister of Energy for the UNC? Are they saying anything? Nevertheless, we'll continue the story. Viewers, it's that time now where I have to say good night. So you all be safe until we meet again. I am Saieed Ali and you're viewing Real Talk with Saieed Ali.